turn now to my left, and I see one of my best friends. Marshall
How you doing,
Faulk.
my friend?
Good to see you, sir. From game day morning, our pregame show. When I thought about our pregame show this morning,
I feel like it's about to start right
exactly. But the Super Bowl will start in the daytime and end at night, which is a rarity.
Right.
Doesn't happen very much. Our pregame show will start in the dark and end in the light. Sort of the opposite of the Super Bowl. Did you think about that, Marshall?
I did not.
Think about that.
You know why I didn't think about that?
Why?
Because I got to do post game. So I will end in the dark.
You're going to start in the dark
and end in the dark.
Wow. Yeah, you got to do the post game.
It's true.
Wow, that's a
true.
marathon.
Hey, I'm in it.
That's it.
I'm in for it. I'm ready.
It's the Super Bowl.
I'm ready.
You know
Yeah.
what it takes.
Hey,
You
I'm
understand
ready.
what it takes.
Hey, that's why we lift all those scripts.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we lift all those scripts. You're right. Who did I talk about this week about you coming out of your Super Bowl all hyped up and then realizing what happened? I forget who I brought that up to this week, but tell that story about when you came out of the tunnel for your Super
we were
Bowl.
just talking about it. We did players only, but I remember like first Super Bowl. We're in Atlanta. You know, I'm comfortable about playing in the game because we played the Falcons, you know, twice a year, and it was a stadium that I had played in a couple of times. And I run out of the stadium, and I run through the tunnel. They call my name, and I'm hyped. I'm like, I get through everybody, high fiving everybody. I get to the end, and I'm like, I feel like I just played a game. I started kind of hyperventilating. Everybody started getting ready. I'm over there on the oxygen, like, game hadn't even started.
You almost passed out?
Yeah, game hadn't even started, Rich. Those emotions, when I played sport all my life, different sport, and I won championships in every other sport. I mean, it had always eluded me in football. I'd never even been to the championship. I mean, I have never gotten deep into the playoffs in football.
Not even in high school?
Not even in high school.
Orleans?
Nothing close, Rich. I'm talking about we were bad. And so, you know, it was like, that was a dream. Not just like, you know, oh, you dream. No, this was a dream. And that dream ended bad for me all the time. And so now I get a chance to play in this game. I lost myself in coming out, being hype, and trying to get everybody else going.
I've never asked you this question, Marshall Faulk, and I'm curious to know the answer. Where did you take in that last play that wound up a yard shy for Tennessee?
I was on the opposite 30, hands and knees, with my face in my hands.
You did not see it?
No. I looked up, and Mike had him on the ground.
Mike Jones?
Yes, Mike Jones, yes.
And that's when you realized that it was all over?
Yes.
And when was the next time you actually saw how close it was? Wow.
I want to say when I got home, but we went straight to the hotel, into the party, onto the bus.
So it was.
Yeah, it was like I went to the room and just kind of grabbed my stuff and we left the next morning, but the party went on the whole night.
Was that the only time you never looked at a final play? Because you don't strike me as one of those superstitious can't look type guys. What do you think? What do you?
I just did not want to look. And I'm not gonna lie, the late Steve McNair, we were having trouble stopping him on that drive. I mean, he was outstanding, Rich. I'm talking about the effort that he put out on that drive. I think about some of the things that I've done and played in the game, and watching him on that drive, I couldn't watch the last play.
Would you have scored, Marshall, you think?
I like to think so. I mean, you run through arm tackles. A lot of running backs. You're used to running through arm tackles, but receivers, not a lot of receivers are used to running through arm tackles. So you feel a grab on your leg, and for receivers, instinctually, especially if they're in the middle of the field, they're automatically going down. It's just what they do.
You know where I was for that play?
Where were you?
I was at a Super Bowl party in New York City, 1 year removed from being in the ESPN Boardwalk restaurant in Disney World, where I was watching the game as part of some sort of giveaway with, at the time, I believe, Tennessee Oilers head coach Jeff Fisher. And I was talking to him because the Super Bowl was the Denver one beating Green Bay. So I might be 1 or 2 years removed from this Super Bowl. And we were watching that, and I thought to myself, as Denver had scored and Green Bay was scoring, I said, does Green Bay go for 2 and win the Super Bowl here if they tie this game up?
Yeah.
And he looked at me like I was from Mars. Like, no, we don't go for 2. You kick the extra point. You play for overtime. So I'm in this party, and somebody says, if Tennessee scores, do they go for 2? And I'm like, I know for a fact what Jeff Fisher is going to do should that happen.
Yes. When you have a good defense, and that's what Jeff is, a defensive-minded coach, that's what you do, Rich.
Because there was a lot of talk about that, with the Arizona-Green Bay game after Green Bay didn't touch the football again in the playoffs. Like, should they have gone for 2? What do you think?
Rich, you have an opportunity. You have 60 minutes to try to win the game.
Yeah.
The best part about overtime sudden death is it's exactly that. You may not have a chance. It goes to the flip of a coin. Sometimes that's not done right. We know that. But from then on, it's about having extra time to play. We don't want to have a 5th quarter. That's basketball. They do that. For us, you had an opportunity to win the game in regulation. Now we're going to go to a set of rules that may or may not be fair, may or may not help you. I love our overtime rules. And the fact that now, the best part is a field goal doesn't beat you. You still get the football. I mean, how much more fair is it? I mean, if you score a touchdown and sudden death, you should win.
Marshall Faulk here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, tell me something about Super Bowl 50 that we're not talking about that you think is going to happen. Your Marshall Faulk keen insight into Super Bowl 50, deep below all the storylines that have been passed around this week.
Man, I'm wondering this. I heard Kobe say some stuff about having it be your last year when you're older, but yet he's not in a position to maybe put himself where Peyton Manning is right now. But having that opportunity, knowing it's your last game, whatever's left in you, does it come out? I mean, is there just one of those games, those great games we've seen from Peyton? Because I'm going to say this, we've never seen a great game in a big game for Peyton.
Like a 300? You're going 300? You're talking 300?
I'm just saying, he's never played a great game in a big game. I'm talking with the stats that we would see in some regular season games.
Like Kurt Warner Super Bowl
yes.
stats.
I mean, we've never seen that from Peyton. So, is that possible?
Well, what do you think? I mean, you never say never. Clearly, your quarterback who won your Super Bowl teaches us all that.
You never say never, but I think it's not possible because of Kubiak and just what they do and how they play and how they need to play to make sure that their defense isn't on the field for too many plays.
So what does Cam do in this game? What type of game do you expect from Cam?
Fortunately for Cam and every quarterback who is athletic, if things are not going well with your arm, they have an alternative. This is a good situation for Cam. Every athletic quarterback we've put in this game, they play well some way, somehow, because they have options. It's not just, oh, he's having an off day throwing the ball. We're out of luck. No, Cam, they will call run plays. Nobody runs the ball more than Carolina. And they have a slight advantage when you make a team play 11 on 11 when your quarterback is playing tackle football.
So who is your X factor? Let's go through this is like a rundown. We're going to have this rundown meeting later on today.
Yeah, and I'll give it to you. Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, he has to out-quarterback and outplay Luke Kuechly. You have to be more active. If Brandon Marshall is more active than Luke Kuechly, then the Broncos win.
So more active because he's the guy that can keep Cam in check,
Everything.
potentially?
That means if it's interceptions, tackles, fumbles, nobody works harder than Luke Kuechly on defense.
Ronnie Lott equated him to Mike Singletary.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Not to mention, he probably has, sorry, Mike, better ball skills and conceptually what's going on around him in football. He's such astute.
So we're talking about a future Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah,
in the making right here.
It's easy, Rich. I mean, he's on the fast track. Right now, he'd be on the Excella if he was going from D.C. to New York.
Marshall Faulk here on the Rich Eisen Show. Ask him the poll question. If you're giving me up X factors that we're going to have on Sunday morning, on game day morning, which Favre is going to be part of too, by the way.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah, very simple, Marshall. Who wins Super Bowl 50?
What do you got?
Broncos, Panthers.
What do you have? What do you have? What do you think?
You know I can't get that up, Rich. What are you trying to do to me, man? What are you trying?
Irvin wouldn't do it.
You know, come on, man. I got a job to do.
Mooch wouldn't do it. I mean, Mooch is sitting on the fence.
Right now, Broncos 50.4%.
Wow.
Panthers 49.6%.
That is not reflective of what we heard on this show or what I'm hearing
not.
around town. How many Denver people have you run into? People who think, you know what, I think Denver's got a shot, or I think Denver's going to win. I haven't heard any. Honestly,
Rich, it's wild, and I don't know if people are still kind of scarred from Denver's last Super Bowl appearance against a team with the good defense.
Yep.
But I believe that this Denver defense, like John Elway, is showing up to this Super Bowl with a better defense than he did the last Super Bowl he played in against Seattle. I'm telling you that.
Leave the playoff beard to the pros. Kick off your year with a fresh blade shave from DollarShaveClub.com. They make getting an amazing shave simple. Use a fresh DSC blade with their Dr. Carver shave butter. That's it. Join DollarShaveClub.com today. Pound the table for you. I've got about a minute left in this segment, Marshall, for your Rams that are your compadres, your greatest show on turfers, who are up for enshrinement voting tomorrow.
I think people, first of all, let's start with Kurt. Best story ever, not to mention he has the numbers in the regular season and postseason. With that being said, Orlando Pace, there's some guys in the Hall of Fame. When you are the first pick overall, you go to an organization, you change that organization, you win a Super Bowl, not to mention you block for 3 MVPs, not 1, not 2, but 3 league MVPs, you did something right. I want people to stop talking about the numbers of Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and comparing them to a guy in T.O. who is a Hall of Famer himself. T.O. played by himself. He got all the targets. Those 2 guys shared the ball with me, and they still have numbers. They should be in.
And Kurt, you know, Kurt was here with Mooch.
Yes.
Did you see that segment?
No, I did not.
Oh, you need to see it. I got to send it to you.
Did Mooch take him down? What?
No. Kurt took Mooch down.
What?
In a way, I mean,
Aggressive Kurt.
The type of Kurt that we see on occasion.
The feisty.
Showed up, the feisty Kurt.
Ooh, the prickly Kurt.
The prickly Kurt showed up here with Mooch and shut him down about cutting him, not calling him after cutting him. Then as Mooch was describing the game, the first time that the Rams took on the 49ers, Mooch is like, that happened in the 5th week of the season. Kurt goes, no, that was week 4. And then Mooch starts talking about how, he hugged Vermeil after the game in the shower. There was a full frontal hug that Mooch told. That story was great. Then Kurt brought up the fact that, I asked him what the final score was, and Kurt goes, we crushed him. Like that. And then I asked him, how many touchdowns did you throw that game, Kurt? Do you remember? And he just held up the number 5.
Yep.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And we love Mooch. We love Mooch. And we do know Kurt, it's hard for Kurt to let stuff go. We know that.
He brought up the high V. Sick Mooch. He brought up Amsterdam to Mooch.
Oh,
you got to see it.
man.
I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you.
I love Kurt. That's the fire. You meet Kurt, very unassuming. That's the fire that resides in Kurt Warner.
Now, last year you were on the show. Lily Aldridge was here, and you stuck around. Adriana Lima is about to come out. Do you want to join me for this?
Twist my arm.
Huh?
Twist my arm.
Radio audience, I have not twisted it. It's figurative. Okay, Marshall Faulk, so you will stay here, sir?
Yes.
Okay, Marshall Faulk will stay here, and you should stay here on the Rich Eisen Show. Ryan Reynolds also still to come here on our studio set. Same with J.J. Watt and Snoop, who, by the way, blew up the media availability yesterday.
That's just what he does.
With a Rich Eisen Show mic flag, I might add. Good times here on the Friday edition, Super Bowl 50 edition of the Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.